In this video, I'm going to teach you a 5-step process to make theory part of an assignment from the very first day you start preparing it. 1. Discover. 2. Ask. 3. Research. 4. Record. And 5. Apply. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need to do to ensure your assignments are rich in theory and hitting the criteria for those higher grades. Before we get into that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Yardley, and for the last 20 years, I've been teaching sociology, criminology, and social policy in UK universities. In that time, I have helped thousands of students go from bewildered and clueless about theory to theory bosses who know exactly what they're doing with theory. So let me help you make that transformation. Does this sound familiar? So I finished my assignment. I guess I should put some theory in there. Theory can sometimes be an afterthought. Students often come to me with their first draft and ask, what theories should I add in? How many theories do I need to include? These are the wrong questions to be asking. So what should you be doing with theory from the word go? Let's take a look at those 5 steps now. Discover, ask, research, record, apply. Step 1, discover. Firstly, look at the documentation that comes with the module or unit that you're studying. You'll find it on Moodle, Blackboard, or any other platform that your college or university uses. Download any module or unit guides and handbooks, marking criteria and learning outcomes. These documents will refer to theory, and they may well identify particular bodies of theory or types of theory that you need to draw upon. So that is your first task. Go and have a detailed read through those documents. Highlight any references to theory and note down your thoughts. Step 2, ask. Contact your professor or lecturer or tutor, the person who is teaching you on that particular module or unit. Email them. Say that you're keen to ensure you're focusing on the right theory from the outset. Say that you've looked at the marking criteria and the learning outcomes and that you're under the impression that this is the theory you need to be exploring. Or if that documentation wasn't very specific, ask them which theories you should be focusing on. This will ensure that you head off in the right direction. And your lecturer, professor, or tutor will actually be quite pleased to hear from you. We really appreciate it when students take the time to do their background research into theory. Step 3, research. Research those theories. Ask your professor or lecturer or tutor to recommend some reading around them. Go and look on your college or university library website and search for introductory theory textbooks. For example, if you're studying criminology, look for books with the titles Introduction to Criminological Theory. If you're studying social work, look for books with the title Introduction to Social Work Theory. You'll find quite a lot of relevant books there, so take the time to read through them and see which ones work for you. Step 4, record. Make detailed notes on those theories whilst you're reading about them and ensure that you're doing so strategically. Create a table and put details about each theory into it. Include a short summary of the theory in a few sentences. Critically analyse it. What are its strengths and weaknesses? How valuable is it? What contribution does it make? For more tips on how to do a thorough critical analysis, check out the video on my 3-step process for critical analysis, which I will link to in the description. Going back to that table that you're compiling, make sure that you're writing things out in your own words, rather than just copying and pasting from the stuff you read. This helps develop your understanding of the theory, and it gives you some really useful phrases and sentences and summaries that you can lift out and repurpose in your assignments. Step 5, apply. Apply what you're learning about theory to the issues you're exploring in your assignments. Compiling that table is a really useful thing to be doing because you're beginning to research the theory at the start of your assignment preparation process. So it's something that's going to run parallel to the process of researching the actual issues that the assignment explores. As such, the way that you're thinking about those issues will be theory informed. If you go off and you research all of the issues and you get all of that stuff done, and then look at theory, your assignment is going to suffer for that. Say, for example, you're doing an essay exploring the experiences of women in prison. You'll be looking into all the research that's been done around women in the prison system. But if you're developing your theory table at the same time, you'll be researching bodies of theory that are relevant to these issues. For example, feminist criminological theory about women's offending and penal theory, theories about prisons and punishment. That theory table is going to become your toolbox. You can reach into that toolbox, select an appropriate theory, and apply that in trying to understand some of the issues that are cropping up in your general research for the assignment. So, for example, you might discover that a high proportion of women in prison have experienced domestic abuse. How does the theory help explain that? What does the theory say about women's offending that helps us make sense of that? Theory is essentially a tool for helping us explain why things are the way they are. So think of theories as different tools. Some of them just aren't going to do the job. They're the wrong shape, they're not a great fit for the thing that we're trying to do. If we think about real tools, you wouldn't use a hacksaw to insert a screw, you would use a screwdriver. In much the same way, something like routine activity theory might not be an appropriate tool for making sense of female offenders' experiences of domestic abuse. But feminist theory might be quite helpful here. It might be the most appropriate one to start exploring some of those issues. And that's not to say that routine activity theory is completely useless. It might be helpful in understanding how women commit their crimes in the first place. So you'll need to do some testing out. Try out each theory in turn until you find one that fits, and make sure that you are critical in your analysis of it. I have another video on how to do critical analysis in a 3-step process, and I will put the link to that in the description. For more study tips and advice on what you need to do today, right now, to start the process of supercharging your grades, sign up for my weekly emails. Every Wednesday, a little dose of study inspiration will land in your inbox at 6:30 UK time. I'll put the details about how to sign up for my email list in the description, and I will see you all very soon.